Here's why the James Webb Space Telescope is a cure for Kufr. I grew up in London and I thought I had seen the sky before, but it wasn't until I was in my 20s that I actually saw the stars properly. I'm not kidding. I was driving at night one night along a long stretch of road between cities without any street lights for miles and miles, and I had to stop to get out of the car. I was that shocked. Many of us have grown up surrounded by man-made structures, and the little bits of nature we do see are abnormal, sanitized tokens of nature. A tree here, or a park, or a golf course there if you're lucky. And it's no surprise that this separation from the creation has been accompanied by a decline in belief in the Creator, an ability to reflect and ponder deeply, a reduction in average IQ, and a rise in all kinds of vices and mental health issues. That's why occasions like the James Webb Space Telescope launch and discoveries are always a treat for the Fitrah, our natural disposition. We're taken out of our artificial structures to see the creation once again, and it can reawaken something dominant in there. But it would be a huge mistake spiritually and from a Dawah perspective to reduce this to, hey, look how complicated and vast the universe is, therefore there's a creator. Of course, that might technically be true, but it's like admiring how beautiful a steak looks without actually tasting it. That's not the point of the vastness of the creation. Simply having eyes to see a lump of rock somewhere with any attribute is enough actual evidence to deduce that there's a creator if you have a sound intellect and heart. The real benefit of showing us such a vast universe is beyond merely knowing he exists. Some scholars historically summarize it beautifully as an-nadharu ila as-sama' ibadah. Staring up and looking at the sky is worship. And the scholars of Islam outlined so many reasons as to why this is the case. And it should be no surprise. Look at how many times Allah has told us to look up in the Quran, ayah after ayah. Swearing an oath by the stars, the sun, the moon, the sky. Won't they look up at the heavens? Why don't you reflect? In this are signs for people of understanding, people of intellect, and so on and so on and so forth. Why do you think most of the stars up there have Arabic names? This is your heritage. Discovering and reflecting on the cosmos was practically synonymous with Islam and Muslims for 1,000 years, or until the virus of colonial modernity tore through civilization and set human beings back 500 years according to some. But that's another topic for another day. When it comes to staring up at the sky, there are so many wisdoms for this. One of the greatest benefits is that it forces us to be humble. One of the Salaf, the great grandson of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, in fact, he said, a bit of arrogance doesn't enter a man's heart except that his intelligence decreases proportionally. Subhanallah. Arrogance is at the heart of Kufr, meaning disbelief in Allah, His deen, refusal to submit, and simply even being ungrateful. When you see how huge and vast the sky around us is, we should feel a sense of smallness. Did you know that the James Webb Telescope's predecessor, the Hubble telescope, focused into an area of the night sky equivalent to a pinhead held at arm's length? But the James Webb Telescope focuses on a piece of sky equal to a grain of sand held at arm's length. Subhanallah. Not only that, they focused on that sand grain sized piece of sky that they thought was completely empty, pitch black to us, and they found thousands and thousands of galaxies in there, billions of light years away. Not stars, galaxies. Each galaxy containing God knows how many stars and planets and all kinds of creations that you and I can't even begin to imagine. Almost as though they carried out the instruction in Surah Al-Mulk. ثُمَّ ارْجِعِ الْبَصَرَ كَرَّتَيْنِ يَنْقَلِبَ إِلَيْكَ الْبَصَرُ خَاسِئًا وَهُوَ حَسِيرٌ. Then look again and again. Your gaze will return back to you humbled and fatigued. When you look at how vast and huge the observable universe is, which as we know is only a small, the lowest of 7 heavens, by the way. That kufr or rejection based on culturally learned customs or philosophies or beliefs of one little species floating on a tiny speck, it should be put into perspective a bit, right? That your accidentally inherited norms and subjective morality that so many people appeal to when wanting to reject something ingrained in their fitrah are so small in the grand scheme of things. If arrogance leads to rejection of the truth, then humbling oneself should lead to acceptance of the truth, even if it comes from somebody you don't like, which epitomizes the description of the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which ushered mankind into a new era of explosive learning when he said, wisdom is the lost property of the believer. Wherever he finds it, he has most right to it. But remember, this should make us Muslims even more humble, not flexing because we've done this good deed or that good deed. Remember this next mind-blowing hadith next time you're outside, able to look at the vastness of the sky, even during the day. The Prophet ﷺ said one day, I can hear the sky creaking under the immense weight of something. There is no handspan throughout the heavens except that there is an angel prostrating, bowing, worshipping Allah since those 3 dimensions were created. And they shall stay there glorifying Allah until the trumpet is blown. Only then will they raise their heads and say, Subhanaka ma abadnaka haqqa ibadati. How exalted are you, Allah? We have not worshipped you as you deserve to be worshipped. They've been there for billions of years so far, that we can tell anyway, and they will be there for God knows how many more years, continuously worshipping Allah. So we should never begin to hype ourselves up because we did an act of worship here or there. But it's Allah's mercy that He'll overlook your shortcomings and mistakes if you try your best, and He'll reward you better than those angels, subhanallah. Anyway, looking at the sky is a cure for arrogance, for those whose mind is present. Allah puts you in your place using the creation around us. وَلَا تَمْشِ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا إِنَّكَ لَن تَخْرِقَ الْأَرْضَ وَلَن تَبْلُغَ الْجِبَالَ طُولًا. And do not walk upon the earth exultantly. Indeed, you will never tear the earth apart, and you won't ever reach the height of the mountains. How else is looking up at the sky worship? It's a declaration of your neediness for Allah and your hope in Allah as His slave. Looking up to the sky as the Prophet ﷺ used to a lot. In fact, Allah mentioned it in the Quran. قَدْ نَرَى تَقَلُّبَ وَجْهِكَ فِي السَّمَاءِ. We have certainly seen you turning your face to the sky. We have certainly seen you turning your face to the heavens, O Muhammad ﷺ. There are so many ahadith showing the Prophet ﷺ looking up towards the heavens when worried, when stressed, when hopeful, when making dua. This is where this comes from, these dua hands come from, when we make dua. 100%, I genuinely believe if somebody carries out research into this, they'll find a link between our emotions and our thoughts and our vestibular system, which deals with our relationship to gravity, i.e. our sense of balance, sense of up and down and so forth. In fact, I quickly Googled it and found a bunch of studies already in the peer-reviewed literature describing the link between our thoughts, emotions and our vestibular system. But if anyone's got links to studies about looking up in particular, that would be great. Please do share in the comments below. So we've mentioned a few wisdoms so far of an-nadhar ila as-sama'i ibadah, that staring up at the sky is an act of worship. One more is that it belittles other creatures in our eyes. When you see the vastness of the creation, that they found 40 odd pairs of Jupiter-sized planets one day, or huge black holes another day, or thousands of galaxies in a completely empty part of the sky, you realize that that tyrant or oppressor or enemy that I had been worried about is nothing. It should build our reliance upon Allah directly, to go to Him, to protect us, to give us victory, to meet all of our needs, as well as building fear and awe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He deserves to be feared out of love. Anyway, we've only mentioned a handful of wisdoms behind reflectively and hopefully staring up at the sky, reflecting over the creation and its creator. Let us know what you feel personally are some wisdoms and reflections, but I'll leave you with one that should make us stop in our track. This is an indirect one, but one outcome of looking at the vastness of the sky is that it should make you feel special. You might be thinking, how's that? You just spent the last few minutes telling me how insignificant I am. Well, you're not insignificant. Small doesn't mean you don't matter in Allah's eyes. Picture this. In Surah At-Takwir, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions huge astronomical events that will occur during the setup to the day of reckoning. After mentioning the sun being wrapped in darkness, the skies, the stars scattering, after mentioning these big creations, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. And when a baby girl will be asked, which crime were you killed for? It is Allah's right that He creates and He chooses. And He created this whole vast cosmos, billions of light years apart, but He has given you a special value. You're more than just molecules. He cares about what happens to you. In fact, the whole universe and more will be wrapped up for the day of judgment, to judge and to reward and punish who? You and me, human beings. He's given you the amana, the trust, moral accountability, His guidance, His stewardship over the earth. And if you want to know more about what this stewardship entails, you'll want to watch this video next. Assalamu alaikum.